Welcome back to GBGuns, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today we're going to go over how to clean and lubricate any handgun, and we're going to do it using these 6 models that I'm going to rip through real quick. No, just kidding. We're going to skip all of that BS and just show you what you need to know for any handgun that you happen to have. That's what's coming up next on GBGuns. Skip a lot of BS because, well, as long as you know how to disassemble, rather just field strip your gun and put it back together, the rest of it is not specific to any one gun. There are a few guns that have odd, unique needs, but for the most part it's all pretty universal. So today we're going to be using my Diamondback AM2 as an example. This is my lightweight summer carry gun. First thing you want to do is clear it and check for clear. See that the chamber is clear. I'll get this out of the way and field strip the gun. This particular gun comes apart like a lot of the Glockish style pieces. If you're not sure how to field strip your gun, check your user manual. If not there's always YouTube. I believe there's a guy who does a lot of field strips in his pistol reviews. So we have the gun down into its 4 basic components, and that's what pretty much all pistols will come down to, plus or minus 1 or 2 little pieces here and there. What do you use to clean it? Well, the first thing you need to do is go to your local gun shop and let them upsell you on the most expensive cleaning kit they can find, and then put a surcharge for the advice on it. No, I'm kidding. Of course, I use some pretty simple stuff. Dental picks, yep, from a dentist. Why is it purple and yellow? Well, because these are free. A little known thing is that dentists have to throw away their tools after so many uses because the edges are considered to be not, medically sound anymore. And so the next time you're a dentist, ask him for some of their old tools, the tools they're going to throw away. You might not get it on the first visit, but send the kids to the dentist and you will eventually end up with some picks. You do need to be careful with these as they can scratch the finish on some guns, but they're great at reaching tiny spots. Brushes come in a variety of materials. We've got brass, copper, a blue nylon, which is tough, and a white nylon, which is very soft. As far as how useful these are, this one obviously I abuse the heck out of. Just remember which material is harder, what you're scratching on, or the brush. You always want what you're rubbing against to be harder than the brush material. And then other than that, it's pretty simple. These we used to call these AP brushes, all-purpose brushes in the military. Pretty handy. Something for doing the bore. There are lots of bore snake type things out there. I've done a comparison video on the different models. This one in particular is from Real Avid. It's called a Bore Boss. I like it. Well, you'll see why in a second here. But it has your brush and cloth material combined, pretty easy to use. As far as lubrication, any lube will do. They're pretty much all the same thing. This Lucas Extreme Duty came free in a gun that I have, and I like it personally. It's been a favorite of mine. Rides around in my range bag. Do have to be careful though, although it has this nice fine applicator needle. It's easy for the needle to get pushed in while bumping around a range bag, and no one likes their needle pushed in. Another note on gun lube is there's a lot of hype and a lot of BS out there pushing one brand over another. If it says it's too magical, it's probably not. You can use cooking oil, you can use motor oil, any real type of oil. And if it says it was invented by a Navy SEAL, ask yourself how many Navy SEALs are chemists. The other thing that I do use, and this, I am supporting this brand, these Rem Oil Rem Wipes are the best thing with the Remington brand on it, even better than the Remington coasters. Completely reliable. The Rem Oil Pro is a little too oily for my take. The hops as well. I'll show you what these are useful for in a minute. And then for getting into small nooks and crannies, if you really want to detail clean, Swabits, and there are other companies that make these. These are basically medical swabs. Don't leave any lint. It's an actual, I believe, a cotton-based head on there. and great for dabbing into places to smear stuff out. They're also reusable. Not saying you have to get Swabbits, but that's the brand that I've found to use. So, with the tools out of the way, what do we clean? Well, your recoil assembly, if carbon is rolling off on your fingers, which this is not, then it's probably fine. You may want to make sure there's no rust collecting on it, depending on if it's a steel rod or a polymer rod. Other than that, don't worry about it. The general rule on the rest of the gun is anywhere you see carbon building up, remove it. Anywhere you see rust, remove it and make sure it's got a light coating of oil. That's where I like these rim wipes. They're much like the Clorox wipes and all those other pre-moistened towelettes, is just wipe everything down. And even though this gun looks fairly clean, I bet we'll still get some stuff out of there. This has been shot from time to time. I usually keep it clean because, like I said, it's my carry gun. But because it's my carry gun, it also gets plenty of pocket lint in it. And you can see the lighting hits it. There's definitely some gunk we're getting out of there. Nothing too serious. And because this has lubricant on it, you can see the sheen that's applied. It is also protecting. Cleaning, lubricating, and protecting with the trademark CLP name. Your barrel. This is probably one of the most important spots to get. Come in. Your feed ramp here, you want to make sure stays free from carbon buildup. Depending on the model of gun and the type of ammo you're using, they can get pretty nasty, and as that gets dirty, there's more and more resistance for the next round to feed into the chamber, and that's where you can start have feeding issues. This one's pretty clean. You do get carbon buildup up here on the shoulder, and I can probably just wipe that off. Yep. Except for that little nick, little spot in there, which our dental pick will do just fine for. Once again, you want to be careful with the dental picks because they can scratch some metals. I would trust that a barrel is going to be harder than a dental pick. Exterior of the barrel, I'll wipe off. You can see the shine that's appeared in some spots on this barrel and barrel hood. That is where it makes contact with the slide. That happens with almost all of these Browning tilting barrel action guns, and that's where you're going to have wear, so that's where you want to have some lubrication. This rag does provide some lubrication, but not a ton. The barrel itself, we're not going to be able to see carbon in there, but running a brush and either a patch or like this, a cloth material through it, gets most of it out. You don't really have to worry too much about pistol barrels as you would a rifle barrel. The reason why I like this thing is this little ball locks in here, holds in place, then you grab on like that, and it gives you something to really pull and comfortably pull through. And I got most of it out of there. I don't worry too much, like I said, about buildup in the barrel, just so long as it's not obstructed or has any type of other junk in it. Looks like we might have a little bit of rust on the end. Nope, that was just dirt. Inside of our slide, same thing, just a simple wipe down. And no, this is not well, I do like these rim wipes. I'm not doing this video to sponsor these rim wipes in any way, but you can see everywhere that I'm wiping, I'm cleaning, and I'm also leaving a light coating that makes it really quick. Now, one spot to watch for, and this is only extreme use, is your extractor. This gun has an external extractor, it says here. Looking on the inside, we can see this claw. That's what grabs onto the back of the round, and you want to keep the back side of that clean. If that gets gunk built up on it, for example, if you're shooting a lot of lacquered steel cased ammunition, or you're running a suppressor, or shooting a lot of dirty ammunition, carbon will build up on the back side of there and change the geometry of the claw that grips onto the round, and what you end up with is a slipping extractor. That's where you can get your failure to extract. We're giving the exterior a simple wipe down because, like I said, this has a preservative on it. That's going to help fight our rust, especially on a carry gun. This is a little wet for my like. but I'll hit that later with a paper towel to kind of dry it off. And well, that's it. Disappointingly simple and easy. As far as lubrication points, your rails are a good spot, and I found an easiest way to do that, and you only need a little bit. The less lubrication you have on there, the less dirt is going to stick to it. I run most of my guns fairly dry, and as a result they stay fairly clean. Just a drop on the leading edge of the rail. And the reason why we do it on the leading edge is when we put the gun back together and rack it, the inside of the rail surface here is going to drag that lubricant along the rest of the way. These Swabits, a good use for them is cleaning that channel that the rails ride in. You can do it with a Q-tip, just be aware that Q-tips will leave some lint. And if you're cleaning a carry gun like I am, getting lint out is the main goal. So we've got some dirt out of there. We get the slide back together and put it back on our frame. And as we pull this on, it's applying that lubrication inside the rails everywhere that the rail makes contact. It's that simple. Run it a few times, no big deal. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this top of the barrel hood where that shine has appeared from friction, you can apply lubricant there. The problem is if the gun's going back in the holster or not going to immediate use, it's just going to be something that attracts and captures dirt there. So maybe if you're running matches or something like that, you could put just a light dab on there and run it. I just put a drop on there and run the slide a few times. In fact, I don't know if the camera's going to be able to capture it, but you can even see how the slide is kind of scooping and mopping, if you will, that lubricant over the hood. Problem is now that's going to attract lint, so I'm going to want to dry that off some. Don't want that to be too wet. But that's all there is to it. It really is simple, folks. Don't get too wrapped into sales pitches of products or someone trying to make you think that you need a special class. It's as easy as removing carbon from where carbon sticks and applying lubrication anywhere there is metal to metal contact. If your gun is brand new, that's kind of hard to see, but after you fire 100 rounds or so, you can go back through, take it apart, and you'll start to see shiny spots like that. That's where the contact happens, and that's where it needs lubrication. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, post them down below. If you've got any good idea, bad idea product experiences, please share them below. I can tell you the one product that I've had a definitive bad experience with was Frog Lube. This stuff was really popular and pushed heavily in the industry for a couple years, and it had this very complicated process of applying, and you could only use Frog Lube from there on out and not use any products that were petroleum based or from anyone else until you completely remove the Frog Lube, blah blah blah. Its biggest claim to fame was that the carbon wouldn't harden and stick, and they were right. It certainly did that. The problem was it would turn the carbon into mud, and that made for gunky guns, and in guns with tight tolerances like a fine 1911, that mud would slow it down, and eventually the action would get to the point where the gun wasn't reliable anymore. So I advise against Frog Lube. However, the rest of them out there are pretty much all the same. This stuff, for me, by Lucas Oil, seems to be a nice lubricant. I love it in rifles, mostly because of that applicator needle. It doesn't take a lot. You just got to get it moist. There, I got to use the M word. Thanks again for watching. Hope this helps, and we'll see you on the range.